Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Very popular question right now. It is, how much Bitcoin should you own? And I say this beforehand. Please make sure, as always, that you understand that this is not financial advice and that you do your own research, because you should always be doing your own research in the first place. Quick rundown. There will ever only be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. Ever. Only time ever, never anymore will ever be made. It is currently believed that around 4 to 6 million of this 21 million are lost and gone forever. Why, you might ask? It's because around the first 2 or 3 years that Bitcoin came into existence, it was only worth about 10 cents. At one point it was worth a penny and then less than a penny. So a lot of people who had tons of Bitcoin didn't value it that high. They may have 10,000, it's worth a couple of bucks. Cool, that's fine. A lot of these old computers were lost, damaged, gone, sold. There's a famous story of a guy who had a pretty penny worth of Bitcoin in an old computer. He decided to get a new computer, threw the old one in the trash, and those hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin are now lost and gone forever. This goes into the idea of scarcity, which we're going to get into, because once again, only 21 million Bitcoin, roughly believed to be 4 to 6 million of them are lost and gone forever. It is incredibly scarce, and it will only get scarcer as the time continues going on, because a lot of people around the world are buying. Understand that it is not just you who is thinking about buying. There are billions of people on the planet who are probably also considering the exact same thing at this very moment. Bitcoin is currently the 6th largest currency on the planet at the time of me making this video. Whatever the date says down there, that's the current time. It is the 6th largest currency in the world. Bitcoin has only been around for around 12 years, so it's quite a feat in and of itself. There's an article that I'm going to link to you in the description below that gives you the exact numbers of how much Bitcoin you should own in theory. The number is, for those of you who are wondering, it is 0.28 BTC. That is 28 million Satoshi, as it takes 100 million Satoshis in order to make an entire Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is digital and can be fractionalized into little units called the Satoshi. There are 100 million of them in an entire Bitcoin. And when you have 0.28 of a Bitcoin, you have 28 million Satoshis, which is also going to play into something else that we're probably going to talk about in this video as well. If you, right now, own, possess, hold, have acquired 0.28 Bitcoin, that is roughly a little bit above a fourth of a Bitcoin, you are in the top 1% of Bitcoin holders on the planet. No, it sounds completely insane, but those are the numbers. If you took a Bitcoin, took the entirety of all the Bitcoin that could potentially logically be out there, which is 21 million, if you divided them into a fourth, you would still only be able to give that fourth, that 0.28, rounding it out to 0.25, to 84 million people on the planet. That's it. 84 million, and we are currently 7.4 billion people on the planet. It is currently impossible, even at the current amount of Bitcoin that has been created, is currently circulating on the planet, that's rotating around our Earth, for even 21 million people to own an entire Bitcoin. There are a large number of people on the planet who have large amounts of Bitcoin. There may even be someone you know or family member, or maybe even yourself, who has a Bitcoin or multiple Bitcoin. There are tons of news stories about all these rich people who have tons of Bitcoin. They have essentially, if you think of it this way, they've taken away the Bitcoin from billions of other people who would ever be able to own even fragments of Bitcoin. I think the number, if you do it correctly, if there were 21 million Bitcoin and you separated it to every single person on the planet, I think every person would have 0.002 Bitcoin if it was evenly distributed. It's no longer possible. So if you hold, whatever, 0.28 of a Bitcoin, you are not only in the top percent, you have essentially taken away Bitcoin, if you want to think of it this way, from billions of other people on the planet who will never, ever, 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 ever be able to own more than you do. Ever. It is mathematically impossible. For those of you who may not watch the other channel, may not know about it, we go over this constantly because it's always in the news. There are several companies and very rich people on the planet who own large swaths of Bitcoin. which further increases its scarcity by a lot. There's a company called Grayscale, that is Grayscale. They currently, today, news just happened, they currently own 500,000 Bitcoin. This also, if you have a chance, look at the other channel, because every single day there are banks and institutions who are buying up large amounts of Bitcoin. So I think the 0.28, if this was the news that we had earlier in the year before we found out that all the more Bitcoin that gets bought up, the less you probably have to even be in the 1% of Bitcoin holders. Meaning logically, mathematically, right now, because of what Grayscale has been buying, because of what Square has been buying, the Winklevoss twins, all these other people, if you hold 0.28% of a Bitcoin, you are probably in the 1% of the 1% of Bitcoin holders on the planet. 7.4 billion people, 21 million Bitcoin, 18 million have been mined, 4 to 6 million are lost and gone forever. Grayscale owns 500,000 Bitcoin. Winklevoss twins, we know in 2012 they said that they own at least 200,000 Bitcoin. And Jack Dorsey and all these other rich people have been coming out of the woodworks the last couple of days to also announce that they also own tons of Bitcoin as well. There's not a lot of Bitcoin left around there trying to tell you that. I think I even said that if you hold 1/4 of a Bitcoin, yes, it's weird to think about. If you hold 1/4 of a Bitcoin, billions of people on the planet will never be able to own as much Bitcoin as you, ever. We are currently in the phase of Bitcoin insanity. There are a number of governments, people who work for governments, who have come forward and stated, either on or off the record, that their governments are buying up Bitcoin. We had news a couple of days ago. I believe it was Iran, I believe so, not 1,000% sure, who announced that cryptocurrency mining is legal within their country, but when companies are selling off Bitcoin to be able to pay for their electricity bills, that Bitcoin actually goes to the government. There are currently around 7 to 8 countries, maybe even more, that we know who are unofficially buying Bitcoin. And these are usually countries who are under sanctions. If they're already billionaires who have hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, one can only assume that governments, assumption, are going to be doing the exact same thing as well. There's just a lot going on as far as price predictions for those of you who are wondering. I'm going to try and put that link in the description below as well. Citibank. Citibank. If you don't know Citibank, they're one of the largest banks on the planet. They recently, yesterday, released news. Here we go. Here's the funny part. Citibank released something to their wealthiest clients and told them, their wealthy clients only, that they think that within the next 13 months, we are November 2020. They said in 13 months, that is December 2021, they believe that Bitcoin could go past 300,000 US dollars. I'm going to post that link in the description because it's going to completely blow your mind. Think of the amount of money that's going to flow into the space as Bitcoin continues rising in price organically. And then you have the situation where earlier this year, Bitcoin was actually at $3,500 because of everything that's been going on in the world. There was a scare, the price dropped. Imagine having accumulated or purchased Bitcoin for $3,500, even if you bought a fraction of it, and it pops up, no one knows, to $300,000 by next December. You would have made yourself $75,000 to $300,000 over the course of a year because you purchased cryptocurrencies. The true answer to all of this is however much you want, however much your heart desires to hold. If you want to have no Bitcoin, then go for it. Live your best life. If you want to have an entire Bitcoin, then so and so and so. The answer is, and this is not financial advice, as much as you possibly can. The frenzy is here. We are having discussions right now of Bitcoin actually becoming the #1 currency on the planet. Bitcoin needs to pass by 250,000 US dollars to be able to replace the US dollar. If Citibank and many other banks and all the German banks and the Swiss banks who've been putting out news over the last year that they think that by next year, Bitcoin is going to be anywhere from 100,000 to 300,000 US dollars, means that we are in a position, you are in a position to be able to own an entire or fractions of the new world currency. As always, please do your own research. We are in a very interesting time economically. The world's economy is not as stable as many people would like to believe that it is. And there are billions of people on the planet who don't pay any attention to financial advice. So the fact that you're here, you are way ahead of the curve, as it were. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope that you hear the severity in my voice, because if banks and institutions are accumulating so much Bitcoin, it's for a certain reason. There are tons of articles out there about, especially the banks, who are buying up tons of cryptocurrencies in order to be able to offer and sell them to other people and having them on their portfolio in anticipation of potentially, no one knows for certain, one day $1 million Bitcoin. I do hope you all, there's so much more I want to say, but it's not financial advice. So yes, I do hope you all enjoyed. I hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.